women to work on themselves because we need to be effective models and effective witnesses. And I wasn't seeing a lot of that. I was seeing a lot of deflecting. Well, these young girls need to do this. These young kids need to do that. Yeah, but what are you doing? Are you speaking? Can you speak well of yourself? Are you carrying yourself in a way that's pleasing? You know, is your mind in the right place? And so before we were so quick to work on the younger generation, I really wanted us to work on us, right? So that when we work on them, we're drawing from a deep well. Does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense, yeah.
But now I think as Who's That Lady is evolving, I think now we are getting to a place where we have done at least enough work on ourselves, as in we will continue the work, but we've done enough where now we can begin to pour into the generation behind us. And so Who's That Young Lady is certainly on the horizon. So those are some of the things for Who's That Lady. I'd love to see it be a global brand. We're well on our way to that as we are doing our first conference in Africa. I'm so
wow. Round of applause,
so
round of applause.
Round of applause. We will be in Africa in mid-July. We will be serving the Restoring Hope's ministry in Mwani, Kenya. I heard from them very recently, and they are looking at 150 women already. So I'm over the moon, and I am taking a squad with me of powerful preaching women in ministry because I don't want to do this alone, and I can't do it alone. And I told them, I said, well, Who's That Lady comes, Who's That Lady has got to come. And that means all the women who are, I know that are powerhouse preachers who have shared in our conferences here in America. So we have the four of us total for the conference in Africa are going down there, and that includes my sister-in-law, the Rev Tiffany Dixon, my friend Yolanda Caldwell, and my niece, Jennifer Bliss. So we're going to be going down there as a team, as a unit, as a Who's That Lady squad to minister to the women of Mwani, Kenya. But what I have found in my work in Africa is that you go with the intention of ministering to them, but they in turn minister to you. It really is, you really are blessed as opposed to the other way around. And so we're really excited about that.
Right. If you could share some of your experiences from the last times you visited Africa.
Oh, it was I'm sure, heard it said that when you go to Africa, it's an experience that, you'll never forget it. The thing that I love about Africa is when I go to Africa, I feel like nothing bad can ever happen to me in Africa. There is such a feeling of home and a feeling of being protected and safe. So when we say it is the motherland, that's exactly what it feels like, that I am home. I'm in the presence of a mother. I am safe. I am warm, and I'm with my people and with family. From Tanzania to Kenya, I've always been made to feel that way. When my husband and I, when we went this last year, we took my 16-year-old niece with us, and it was an awesome experience. The thing that I love is that you've always heard, or what I've always heard, is that Africans don't have respect for African Americans. And while that may be the reality for some people, I have to say that has not been my experience. I've had actually the quite opposite experience where they were excited to see us. They embraced us as brother and sister and called us that the whole time. Never by our name, but always Dada, Kaka, brother, sister. And that has always impressed me. When we went to Kenya last year, we got the opportunity to work with the Restoring Hope's ministry. And part of that ministry is an orphanage. And in the orphanage are 13 children who have lost their parents to AIDS.
Wow.
Or AIDS-related illness. And here's what inspired me. In spite of, these are the most happy, well-adjusted children you will ever meet in your life. We watched them play, laugh, sing, whereas some children go to sleep. Before they go to bed, they have milk and cookies. These children go to church and worship before they go to bed. That is their evening ritual, to go to church and worship, and then they go to bed. And it was just beautiful. It was an overwhelming experience. We hated to leave them. There was not a dry eye in the place when we left. And we're eager to go back. But it's just that sense of home, that sense of community. And I really feel like this is where I belong. I love it here. For me, Africa has been an amazing experience.
Wow. Talk to me about how you empower and influence and persuade other women to, because you say you're going back and you're taking a team with you. How do you get people on board with what you're doing? Because I found that to be a challenge in my ministry, but you've seen it do that well, like have a team that just flows smoothly.
It's not always, but I will say that attitude reflects leadership. I think what happens is my enthusiasm becomes contagious. I think, and that sounds probably kind of corny, but I think that's a lot of what it is. With the women, I just told them exactly what I told you guys, shared the vision, shared the dream, shared the experience. And I was honest with them. Anytime I ask people to do something for me, and I just tell them, here's what it is.
Hello, caller? Hello?
Love for you to be a part of it. I think part of also getting people to buy into your ministry or want to be a part of it is to affirm them in their gifts. Right. One of the things that I'm really passionate about is cultivating people's gifts, identifying them and helping them cultivate them. I'm a very self-aware person. I know what I do well, and I know my areas of opportunity very well. I'm always looking for people who do what I can't. And I think when you find people like that, and you affirm them, and you carve out a place for them, right? I think that makes them want to be a part of what you're doing. And it goes also back to the beginning. When people know God is in it, they want to do it.
Right.
They want to do it. That's the key. They have to see God in it, and they have to see God work in it, and they have to see a change in you, quite frankly, because they have to see your passion and your enthusiasm for what you're doing. And I think when they see that, something happens to them. Something changes in them. And, and at the end of the day, beg. please. I need you to do this for me. I need you to come. And I also think that one of the things we also have to be mindful of in working in community is, I think the art of returning the favor, right?
Right.
So when it's as simple as when someone does something for you, and I'm here for you for whatever you need. Oh, you have this going on? I'm there. I need to connect you with this person because you all need to talk. You guys would be great working together. I feel like a headhunter because I'm always looking for new talent. And if I like what you're doing, believe me when I tell you, I'm going to find a way for us to work together. I promise you, I will find a way for us to work together. Like even you and I.
Right.
I was like, hey, what are we doing together?
Right. I remember, yeah. And that's to me, that's a perfect time to segue and talk about our time at Princeton. We did the Black Theological Leadership Institute in 2016, and how that week was just like we built family, we built community, and we didn't just stop there. Like there's like several endeavors and projects and relationships that were birthed out of that experience.
Absolutely. I mean, who would have ever thought that by us coming together, it would result in all of this? The blessings from that week have been exponential. And they spread all around the country, which is amazing. that week changed my life. It really did.
Listen,
It changed me as a preacher.
That week, and I think I talked about this on the last podcast with Vahisha and Regina, but just seeing like Reverend Nichelle and meeting you, I don't know if you realize this or not, but you know, like you're who's that lady, like that question you asked, who's that lady, and then I got, can I get a word? And I always admired like, you know, what you're doing and the relationship that you have with your church and your pastor, and how, you know, you do your ministry like outside of your church, like through your, you know, with your church, hold events at your church, and then even outside. And I looked at that and I was like, wow, because there are a lot of times where I see people do ministry, but there's like a separation between, they might have a ministry, but the church that they attend or serve at might not really support their ministry.
That is a super huge shout out to my pastor, Reverend Earl Jones Sr. He is the most amazing leader, giver, server, and I learned so much about him. And he has an awesome leadership style in that when he sees a gift, he allows people to use their gift. And one of his things he always says is everyone has a gift, a talent, and ability. And there are no big eyes or little U's. And the thing I love about him the most, and he says this, I'm not only on your train, I'm pushing your train. And I love that about him because, and you know, we know this, there are pastors who are very sometimes intimidated by gifts and talents, if I can say that. And he's not one of them. He takes people and affirms their gifts, allows them to use their gifts in the church, abroad, because he's all about kingdom, the kingdom agenda. He doesn't have a personal agenda. He has a kingdom agenda. And that's what we should all have. We should all be kingdom-minded. And so I credit all of that with him for giving me the freedom to do what I love to do at First Calvary and outside of First Calvary. And it's an honor and a privilege to serve there, quite frankly. It really is under his leadership, and I've learned a tremendous amount. I think the biggest thing, too, is you can't be afraid to step out. That's the biggest part. You cannot be afraid. When God gives you a man...
Hello, caller? Hello?
You don't do it, he'll find a way to make you do it.
Oh, yeah.
And since then, I've been like, you only have to tell me one time, Lord. I heard you the first time. I heard you the first time.
Right.
I heard you the first time. And I think that part of it is that we can't be afraid to step out. But this ministry, and ministry in general, is just what I love to do. I have a love for God's people. And that week of BTLI, it changed me in ways unimaginable. It awakened a social justice awareness in me that I didn't even know was there, right?
Right.
Didn't even know was there. And I think one of the things that stuck with me the most was when we heard from Dr. Renita Weems. And she mentioned if someone looked at your sermons 50 years from now, would they know what was happening in this time?
Wow.
That has stuck with me.
Wow.
Would they, if a student picks up your sermon or hears your sermon on tape somewhere in an archive, would they know what was happening in our time? Would they know about 45? Would they know about #MeToo? Would they have any consciousness of what we are facing today? And that stuck with me. So it awakened something in me to say, I've got to tell our story now so that the generations to come will know what we've been through and what we are going through. And I think it's really important that we as preachers don't drop the ball on that.
Right.
I really think that's very important.
That's powerful. So, speaking of preachers, what is your favorite sermon that you preached? The title, text, and why?
Oh boy, this is Wow, this is a tough one. They're all